Hi guys, Shirley Peters here. Today I'm going to do a drawing of two horses. It's a scene in Vienna in Austria, and we photographed it a little while ago. Two horses pulling a cart. It's a touristy thing, and I just thought it would be fun to draw. And rather than describe everything I'm doing, I thought I'd just fast forward. It's 500%, so if you think I'm working quickly, I certainly am. And to start with, I divided the page into 4 across, 4 down, which is 16 squares. I also divided my photograph 4 times across, 4 times down. So I folded it once, twice in each direction. And so what I'm doing now is drawing the contents of each little box and putting it into the square that's on my page. So I fold it over just so that I'm not confused and I can just see clearly what is in each little grid. That way you get your drawing done pretty quickly. It's not that hard. You might be a little bit wonky, but overall your proportions are going to be right and your directions are going to be right in your perspective. So I'm just, it's a difficult picture, this one, to tell you the truth. It's very dark, but I could just see what I was doing, so I persevered, and you will find it dark. Try and print it lighter if you can. That might be the clue if you decide to draw it. You can also trace it. Don't feel bad about that. That's a good option, because you're just going to trace the outline. You still have to render the shapes and the shadings. You still get that drawing effect in the end. So any way you can get this outline down accurately, and this is one of the techniques that have been used for many years, hundreds of years, if not thousands. So just drawing in the cart here. Even though I had that grid, I still found I was going over the edges and getting a little bit wonky. The cart that was, the horses were sort of okay because it was logical what they were, how they looked and acted, although I did find their legs were incredibly narrow and seemed to be wrong, but in the end they were right, and I was happy with it. I think I ended up with the noses being a bit too long. I ended up rubbing them out. Yet to come to that. So they had funny little bonnet things on their heads, little ears, like warm. Maybe there was a purpose in kept their ears warm and cold in the snow, because nowadays we do cover our horses a lot, don't we, when you see them. I decided I would put the background in. I always and ah about that, but I end up putting it in, especially as the horses are fairly low on the page and there's a gap above them, so it needs that background. Now here I'm just putting a shorter pencil into my pencil extender, and it's a holder, so it means you can shave your pencil right down to 1 inch and you can still use it, whereas otherwise you just can't hold it properly. Of course, if you haven't got an extender, you just have to deal with it, but I do recommend you try and buy one. Most art supply shops have them. And, there's paving underneath, so I had a bit of fun with that. You do have to be careful with the paving that you get perspective right, so look at the photograph very carefully and see which angles the edges of the pavers are facing. Now here I've just grabbed an old piece of paper which has got marks on it to stop my hand smudging my drawing. Now I'm basically colouring in with as darker pencil as I can get, because I do want to get black right in that position, in that area. And here I'm making a few changes. I find this fast forward technique quite fascinating, because it seems to work like magic. It makes the lead appear under the pencil without the pencil really doing much movement, and it's quite magic. And I suggest you have a go at doing it yourself. If you're doing a drawing, get your phone out, smartphone, and most of them I think have got some sort of a fast forward option, and have a play at doing this. It's quite fun. In fact, you'd probably on an iPhone you'd set as a time lapse, I think would be the best way to do it. You set it so that it takes one picture every 5 seconds or something like that, and then when you play it as a movie it's super fast forward. So that's all good fun. And I'm just rendering these horses very, very dark, as dark as I can get the pencil to make them, because they're obviously dark brown, blackish beasts, and it would have been easier if they were lighter. I've said that before. I'll be repeating myself, I'm not sure. Anyway, there's the straps are dark, their flesh is dark, oh, their hair is dark. It's quite a challenge. I do have a fondness for drawing horses. I did used to draw them when I was young, as a teenager or 13, 14. I always drew them. That's all I ever drew were horses. And I read books about them. I studied their anatomy, and it just was totally nuts. It was such a hobby for me though. Kept me occupied, and until boys suddenly appeared on the scene, then I forgot about horses. But I really would have loved one, but we didn't live in an area where we could have one. And my mother used to say, "Oh, horses are dangerous, they'll kill you." I think she knew people who had died when she was young, because she was a horse rider, so she didn't want us to go down that direction. But, as a beast, they're lovely to as an animal. They're beautiful to own and to have as a pet, and of course to draw. And, in this case, I've got this quite coarse paper, and it's hard to do detail. If I was doing it again, I'd probably do it on smoother paper. So. Interesting to see how dark one could get the smooth paper to be, and they could get more detail, but we can get it blacker. That'll be interesting. They have blinkers on, which makes them look like they've got big cow eyes, but or fly's eyes. Got some sort of harness down the centre. I can't quite work that out, so I'm just putting in what I can see in the photograph. The dude sitting up, steering, riding, driving, that's what he'd be doing. And his weather gear, we were there in the middle of December. No, middle of winter, but actually it might have been early January. So here I'm going back over the areas I need to be really, really dark. Pressing very hard. Fiddling around trying to get the details right. I think I've decided that I've got both their noses too long, so I've just shortened them up a little bit. Don't know that worked. Oh, they have little wooden hats. Probably to keep them warm, because it's quite cold. And here I am rendering the background. High-rise buildings everywhere. They're not very traditional looking area. It was very modern. It had been bombed, I think, during the war, and they had just rebuilt in modern day buildings, well, relatively modern, 60, 70 years old rather than hundreds of years old. They still have the big cathedral in the square, but from what I remember, I think it's lost all its stained glass windows. So they've just rebuilt it, but not bothered with the windows. So the pavers here are fun to do because you just fill in the corners of them basically. You don't do them all the way, you don't do a grid all the way over, you just do it here and there. Little T's and little crosses. So I'm just looking to where I can add dark to try and balance the picture. It's quite dark at the back there, it gives a vertical line. Magic pencil filling in there, filling in the dark. So I'm using a 6B here. I've really got it very, very black pencil. I'm pretty sure it's a Cumberland Derwent. I'll put a link down below, but it makes a beautiful black strong mark. So thanks very much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you stay safe and well, and I'll catch you in the next one.